The Nigerian leather industry is one of the major ones within the sub-Saharan African region. However, even with a revenue of over $100 million annually, there is still the problem of our import outweighing our export. How then can we grow the Nigerian leather industry, to meet up with the ones across the world? And joining me now is a leathersmith and a key player within the Nigerian leather industry. I'm talking about no other person than Charles Esiaba. Thank you for joining us on Business Daily.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's start off. You heard me, like I said in my introduction. I mean, we have one of the biggest leather industries within Africa. However, there's still the problem of Nigerians importing more than or buying from outside, leather works rather than using or buying from Nigerian leather work makers. So let's hear from you. How would you say the sector is faring, and why do we have that as the case?
Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here to talk about the leather and leather works. So in Nigeria, despite the amount being pushed into the leather sector, and now we are not seeing much. Before now, the leather industry was doing very well, but with the introduction of the oil and gas sector, everybody has moved to the oil and gas, both the youth, both the local investors and the foreign investors. Everybody has gone towards the oil and gas sector. So coming back to the leather industry, the leather industry is underrated despite the money and everything. So again, the federal government, the state government, the farmers, because you can't talk about the leather industry without the agricultural sector, that is animal husbandry, because these leathers are gotten from the cows, the sheep, the goats, even the snakes, the fishes, alligator skins. These are what we use to make these leathers. So now we are consuming these animals instead of utilizing them and coming up with a strong leather. Just in some parts of Nigeria, when we want to kill a cow, I need to be practical with you. When we want to kill a cow or a goat or these animals, we have to roast them. We hang them on a stick and roast them. But in the northern part, they use razor or knife to tear out the skin, dry it, and process it. And then that comes, that's what is leather. But whereas in some parts of Nigeria, they burn these things. And again, look at the ponmo, and some other people call it kanda. These are leathers. Instead of us consuming a greater part of it, we should utilize them into the leather industry so that our leather hides and skins will be there. Because with all this, this shows that there's lack of hides and skins for the leather workers, the trainees, to make these leathers and come up with quality leather. Okay. So once we are talking about leather, I want the states and the federal government and even the lovers of leather works to be productive, and they should take it serious. They should take it serious. I think we are not really taking leather serious, despite our plans of trying to, we have projected to gain about $1 billion in 2025 with leather in Nigeria. With the way we are going, I don't think that is possible. So everybody needs to work hard to ensure that the leather comes back to where it is before. Okay,
you said something that has really struck me about how certain parts of the country, are more prone to utilize the hides and skins, towards leather work, while
yes,
some other parts of the country would rather eat, these hides and skins. But that brings us to the leather powerhouse in Nigeria. Obviously, we're talking about Kano. And I'd like for you to, take us through the value chain, the leather producing value chain. So after these skins and hides are, taken from the animals, what's the process towards it getting to the leather, the final produce? And that is the leather that is finally used in making bags, belts, shoes, and all of those.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, I'll be practical with you today. Just like as I served in Sokoto State, Dambuwa to be precise, once we come out from our houses, going to our PPAs, going to any place, we'll normally see that these hides and skin, once they are being cut off, they are dried on the road. It's a pity they are being laid on the road, which is not proper, on a third federal road, thereby blocking a side of the road. So the federal government needs to provide a conducive environment where they can actually settle well, and process this. So once after drying it, the drying process takes about weeks, because these skins are still wet, still blood in it and so on. So we need to dry it very well. And again, they need to be treated. They need treatment, because dirt and so on, making it for it to come out as a finished good, it needs to be treated and cleaned. So after treating it, that is when you can bring it on board to start again, to process it further, and finally for it to become leather. And again, I think that Nigeria is lacking behind in coming up with factories that specifically produce and refine these leathers. Because as I've stated now, what you are practicing in Nigeria is local procession.
I was going to go to that, because from all you've said, what you're pointing towards one direction,
yes.
that is manual labor.
Yeah, manual labor.
And has there been any form of, automation in towards making this process faster? Because if we're going to hit these targets, like you've mentioned, then we obviously have to be using machines, to make this process faster.
The last time I heard about a leather cluster was during the time of the former governor of Abia State, His Excellency Dr. Okezi Ikpeazu, where he talked about creating a leather cluster in Aba, Abia State. But now his tenure has ended. I don't know whether this present governor will key into that idea, because once you come about the leather industry, after Kano and some other places, Aba is the next place where this leather is coming to. So we really need to get a factory, an automated factory. Yes, we need to add the word automated factory that would make this processing very easy, faster and neat. Because one thing about our leather industry in Nigeria today is the neatness, let's just put it that way, the end finishing. It needs to be neat and solid. So going to the local way, we will not get that neat, solid work. So I strongly believe with automation, just the way we have handled the automated shoe Aba, automated shoe factory in Aba, coming to the leather, pure leather itself. If there is a factory, I think that we can do well in doing this, coming up with solid leather that can help us do these strong shoes, And so as it stands now, I can tell you that the cost of shoes, the cost of leather works are very expensive, because research shows that once we finish getting these hides and skins locally, we export them. We don't export shoes. Well, we barely export shoes. We export more of these hides and skins to countries, to cities that have automated factory that will process it and come up with finished goods.
Okay, but why is this the case? And what are the entrenched, negative perceptions about and the non-acceptability of shoes made in Nigeria or leather works made within Nigeria? Why are we exporting the leather itself and not the finished work?
Due to research, while we are exporting the leather itself, not the pure leather, still the process, is we don't have factories. We don't have factories.
To meet up with
the international standard. We don't have factories. This is where we call the foreign investors. This is where we call the government itself, the federal government, or the state government. Because once we do this and come up with factories that can help to further push the leather industry, you see that there will be no more banditry. You see that there will be no more kidnapping. You see that robbery and all these things, scam, because the youths will be gainfully employed and everybody will be happy, will not be angry anymore. Everybody will be smiling and working freely. But now, without these factories, you can see, and again, we'll come back to headers. Some of the, we are thinking that the headers is only from the northerners. No. The southerners, the easterners need to also rear these cattle so that they can also help to generate hides and skins. Because one of the things affecting the leather industry is low turnout of hides and skins. If everybody is in it, bet me that the whole thing will be very fine. We have left it for a sector or a part of Nigeria. We need everybody to work towards the leather industry. Let us not wait for the finished goods only. Let us start from China. China is leading in the leather industry in the whole world. Let us see how we can compete with China. As of today, currently, Nigeria is the 6th when it comes to leather in the world. Let's still do more.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah, let's still do more to see how we can come up to just as you are doing in the football, we can also do that in the leather industry and come up to the first position or the second position, and we'll draw the line in the second position.
Well, you have raised a very valid point, because just like you rightly stated, most experts, constantly are on the issue of the rising levels of youth unemployment, not just within Nigeria, but Africa. And when these youth obviously are not, gainfully employed, you find them putting themselves and giving themselves the chance to be in harm's way by, doing all sorts of things. But let's talk to those people who maybe have the negative perception around, leather works. They would say, okay, I have a degree in this. Why then should I spend my time learning this skill or this craft? I'd like you to speak to that, because you have a degree in English, I believe.
Yeah.
But you are, working within the leather space.
Yeah, it's still part of my jurisdiction, if I would say that, because my work in the leather industry is as a public relations officer. So, and again, having gotten in as a public relations officer, I now cherish the leather industry, which has made me to go into leather industry to see how the leather industry is moving and working. So now, looking at why people, a lot of people, like I said earlier, they are more of interested in the oil and gas sector. But now people are going towards the leather industries. You will see a lot of people, a lot of our youth who have learned these skills, who have done everything, and they have started practicing. You can see both the females and the men. Where I'm coming from, we have good female artisans who are doing very well. And they have won the National SME Awards that was being done by the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that is Professor Yemi. So now, people, the youth, even the adults, we have in footwear academies here in Nigeria that are teaching the younger ones, even the older people, how to make shoes and leather works. So as it stands now, as a young graduate in Nigeria, once you are done with school, even before you are done with school, you need to start thinking towards entrepreneurship. You need to start thinking about a handwork you should do to help yourself before you can even say, okay, this course I studied, I need to go into it. So that you have something doing, because the rate of unemployment is something I can't really say here. So our youth are already going into the leather sector, okay, like I said earlier.
If someone like me was interested in learning the skill, that is leather work, how long would it take me to, say, make my first pair of shoes or my first handbag? How long would I need to dedicate towards learning the skill?
Okay, like I said before, we have some footwear academies in Nigeria, both online and physically. So why going to learn the shoe making now? Let's say about 6 months. If you are serious with it and you really want to make money and you love what you are doing, within 6 months, you can learn how to draw the designs. Because now, when you're talking about yourself, you need to learn everything, including the design and the starting the work proper, the cutting and everything. So if you are serious and you really want to do this, within 6 months, you are strong. And you know that practice makes what? Perfect. So after the 6 months and you continue and you're having work to do, you have clients giving you work to do, you'll be improving. Before you know it, you are good to go. Okay. So I would say 6 months.
Okay. One thing that has come up repeatedly is the fact to how, the cost of production outweighs the profits that eventually comes out of this work. So I'd like for you to highlight the challenges, because like you've rightly mentioned, you mentioned quite a number, but I want for you to, specifically mention the challenges that you are facing as a leathersmith within Nigeria, just for the benefit of our viewers and those you never really know who's watching and who can, address these issues. So I'd like to hear from you. What are the major challenges that you face as a leathersmith within the Nigerian space?
Good. Well, one of the, the challenges we face in the leather industry is once someone hears that this is made in Aba shoe, or this is made in Aba leather works, or this is made in Nigeria leather works, because I love promoting made in Nigeria and made in Aba footwears. Now they say this is made in Aba footwear. The person's mindset is going towards very cheap amount or cheap price, cost price. Okay, once you say this is a shoe now made in Aba, the person, the client, will be thinking about 2,000 naira. Who does that now? With the cost of the economy and everything, production, there is no longer shoe of 2,500 naira. So once you tell someone shoe of 2,500 naira, the person will laugh. And if he's a businessman in Aba, in Onitsha, the person will go back home and get you a shoe of 2,500 naira. And believe me that this shoe of 2,500 naira, once you wear it back home, it's spoiled. So now, one of the challenges we are facing is that people, the consumers now, they want to pay very little or nothing to get this product, despite the lack of things, the lack of everything, lack of electricity, lack of fuel, lack of everything, even the machines. With all these things now, to produce shoes is very difficult, to finish all these things. So now, the artisans are charging much, and the consumers are not happy with that. That is a very big problem in Nigeria now, that people are now checking the locally made shoes and the foreign shoes. They are weighing them and saying, oh, this shoe, I thought that the local shoe would be lesser than the foreign shoe, because the shoes, you see that the local shoes, some of them could be sold at 30,000 naira, and the foreign shoes, they could be sold at from 60,000 naira upwards. And they'll be asking, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? But I tell you that there's a difference there. And again, I think that it still goes back to what we have been saying. We still need help from the federal government and everybody to stakeholders, leather stakeholders, to come on board and help us. We need Smith and we need Board of Industries. We need all of them to come and help us and push the leather industry, because as it stands now, we are going down daily. We are going down daily. So the industry needs help. We need help, truly.
Well, indeed, let's hope and believe that the right people at the helm of affairs are listening to conversations like this. Like you rightly pointed out, Nigeria is abundant with natural resources, cattle and all these other animals like you mentioned. So let's hope that indeed we start to see actions in that direction. Thank you, Charles Esiaba, for joining us on the program today. Your insight is deeply appreciated.
Thank you very much.
And this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Business Daily. Talked about the leather industry and how we can grow that sector. So much potentials lying within that sector untouched. We hope and believe that we start to see actions, being directed towards growing that. Join the conversation on social media and let us hear your thoughts on what you think about how Nigeria can grow that sector. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.